Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another Movies That Are Praised or Misunderstood month. And this is a movie that was misunderstood from 2005. That it's pretty decent. I don't think it's the disaster that people made it out to be. It's fun. It has a decent cast, and it was long, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Sahara. This is a movie with Matthew McConaughey, Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey, Steve Zahn, and another Oscar winner, but she's kind of wrong for the role in this movie, Penelope Cruz. Now we'll get to this the negatives momentarily, but I'm going to say this: I know why this movie was a bomb. One reason is because the budget was way too big, and they were planning on this being the next like Pirates of the Caribbean or Indiana Jones or The Mummy, and it failed miserably because McConaughey at that time was not a box office draw. He was making a couple of hits here and there, but he wasn't the Oscar-winning, dramatic, taken seriously actor like he was, once he did like Dallas Buyers Club, and he proved that he could be dramatic, and people took him seriously. Back then, in 2005, no. But I do like the film. I think it has a lot going for it because the film looks great. I think the directing is fine. The supporting cast is pretty good. You have Steve Zahn. He's a good foil for Matthew McConaughey's character. You got Delroy Lindo. He's pretty decent. You got William H. Macy. You have Glenn Turman and a bunch of other people. Lambert Wilson. Yeah, I do like the scope of the film. The film is definitely, the action sequences are pretty good. It's not a horrible movie. Like, I got 2 thumbs up from Richard Roper and Roger Ebert. Yes, basically, let me just give the synopsis if I can read it. Scurrying the ocean depths for treasure-laden shipwrecks is a business as usual for a thrilling-seeking underwater adventurer, Matthew McConaughey, and his wisecracking buddy. But when 2 cross paths with a beautiful doctor, yeah, I buy that. They find themselves on the ultimate treasure hunt, kind of like a Pirates film, but without, the Disney logo. And soon the 3 are in the ride for their own lives as they cross the blistering North African terrain, pitting their skills against ruthless enemies bent on world destruction. In a race against time, this trio of unlikely heroes must unravel the clues, solve the mystery, and save the world in a delirious escape into adventure serial heaven the whole family can enjoy. Now, this is a PG-13 movie. It's not too violent. It says action sequences. Well, the Pirates films have the same thing. Now, why I could defend this movie? McConaughey's a good lead. I think it's a fun movie. The action when it's there, it works. It's not like shaky cam, and I don't see what's going on. The film's 2 hours, but it's not 2.5 hours, so it's not a chore to get through like some of the comic book movies that we got in this decade that were just way too long, or they were short, but they were badly paced. The film has a decent pace. I mean, it's not going to win. It was never going to win awards. I knew that going in. I bought this for like 50 cents at a yard sale, so it wasn't like I lost a lot of money. And the film, yes, it has problems. Like I said, the budget was, they would spend too much on the budget. Penelope Cruz doesn't work as a doctor. I don't buy her. She's kind of annoying. She's just thrown in there. Ironic. My friend didn't like Pirates 4, and she's in Pirates 4. Oh, the irony. Yeah. Sorry, Penelope Cruz. No one wants to see you in an action adventure movie. Just, it's not your style. You're not freaking, what's her face, Karen Allen, or even Angelina Jolie, because I give her credit for the Tomb Raider films because she tried. It wasn't CGI at least, but you're not right for the role. I think anybody else would have been better. You could have gotten Jennifer Beals. You could have gotten freaking I don't know, anybody. You could have got Scarlett Johansson. I would have loved to have seen her in this because that same year she did The Island, which I do enjoy. It's also a movie that underperformed, and I think it's a fun Michael Bay movie. That's not, a joke like the Transformers films. But this film is not a joke. It could have made a lot of money if it was like a $50 million budget. This would have been a huge hit, and it was based on a book that people were not didn't really understand. It was adventure books written by Breck Eisner, I think, or something like that. Or hold on, the Breck Eisner directed this. Clive Cussler, never heard of him. So it's like if they made Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone. No one read the books, and the budget was like $250 million at that time. It would have bombed too because it wouldn't have had the recognition if people didn't read the books. And I never read these books of this character. But I do like the film for Whatever reason, it's a film that's decent. It's not the disaster. I thought I was like, oh god, this movie's going to be horrible. But I saw it and I'm like, it's fun. It's fun for what it is. You know, Matthew McConaughey has a nice southern charm, y'all. Awesome actor. I love his talent. You know, the guy can act. I just saw him in Sing. He was really good at voice acting as a koala. And Steve Zahn, good voice actor, very funny. He brings some energy to the film. This film is not lifeless and boring. This film is better than Jurassic World. There, I said it. This film, yeah, it has a lead girl that's not very interesting. But you know what? It makes up for it with the two guys, and it doesn't have horrendous CGI dinosaurs. It doesn't have a story that I've seen before. Yeah, this is basically the first Pirates of the Caribbean, but without pirates. But it's fun for what it is. I don't think it's horrible. Give this movie a chance if you haven't seen it. It's worth a watch. If you see this on Netflix, see it. It's not going to kill you. I've seen way worse adventure movies than this. I've seen way worse action movies than this. I've seen way worse film adaptations of books than this. The Host and Twilight and Vampire Academy. Those are horrendous, dude. They're boring. They have nothing happening. At least this movie, McConaughey's charisma is what carries this film. But despite what the critics think, despite how much it made, despite the freaking reviews, I went into this with an open mind, and I wasn't that disappointed. I thought it was decent. It's fun at sometimes. I wish this movie had been a hit. Like a huge hit. It hit number one, but it didn't. It didn't make enough to garner a franchise. Like I said, the budgets. Who did this? Paramount. You should have spent only $50 million. This movie doesn't look like $150 million budget. I'm sorry. I've seen films from 2015 that had lower budgets than that. Even from last year. Deadpool didn't cost as much as this. And that movie looks amazing. And yeah, watch your money. You don't have to throw everything at the screen and see what sticks. I think this film could have been made on the same budget as the last Indiana Jones movie or even the first three. Because small budgets can make a great movie. The Raid Redemption doesn't cost $10 million and it looks fantastic. It's not the budget, it's the talent, and it's the writing, and it's the fun. This movie had some fun to it. I don't hate this movie. I hated the Time Machine remake. It was boring, it paled in comparison to the original, and it was just a waste of the talent and the money. And you kill your lead girl in the first 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to give that to I know I give the finger a lot, but I'm sorry. That movie deserves the finger for insulting the original Time Machine and having a crappy lead in Guy Pearce. Matthew McConaughey is way better than Guy Pearce. This guy has an amazing talent. He won an Oscar for a reason. I loved him in Interstellar. I think he's fantastic in that movie. He was robbed of an Oscar. Screw you, by the way, Academy, for that. Because that was an amazing performance. Him in space and crying, seeing his kids growing up. That was heartfelt. I feel when McConaughey is acting. I do, when he's done right. Not when he's just thrown into a movie for recognition. Because, he's a good actor. And I'm glad that he didn't do a superhero movie yet. Because he's too good to be a superhero now. Unless it's like a future Avengers movie or something. Or if they made him Ghost Rider, that would have been awesome. Because Nick Cage is okay the first movie. But the writing that they give him is just horrendous. Like in the first one and the second one. And he's a cartoonish. Johnny Blaze is not a cartoon. I think if you had a Southern actor from Texas that actually has the accent, put him in the jacket and make him, Ghost Rider, I think he would have worked because McConaughey can pull it off. And Steve Zahn is fun. Penelope Cruz, not horrible, but she's just there. She's not like, oh my God, you're so desirable. No. The million actresses that could have done a better job. But this film, it's fun. It's not, go shut your brain off. Don't put logic into it. Give it a chance, and I think you'll be surprised. I think it's decent. It's not absolutely horrendous. Like people say, this is one of the worst movies of 2005. I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith is worse. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was so overrated. It made the money that this movie should have. It didn't cost as much, and it had two leads that I thought were like more into each other in real life than they were on screen. On screen, it did nothing for me. It was boring. This I liked for what it was, and it's underrated. I think if you give this a chance, you'll be surprised. And it's not the best movie, but I've seen so much worse. And it's not. It deserves more. It should have gotten a box office gold because there's movies that are way worse that made money. And I think I'm going to call it. This movie is more fun than half of the movies we're going to get this summer, like Valerian and War of the Planet of the Apes and freaking the Emoji Movie, which I'm not dreading, but it's not going to be great. And it's going to be a hell of a lot better than your freaking precious Last Jedi. I'm going to call it now. Yes, this movie was 2 hours, just like the last Star Wars movie was. And it has a better lead. No Brits in the lead, and it's fine. And it doesn't, at least Penelope Cruz is not a fan fiction character. Yeah, there I said it. Your Last Jedi is not going to be better than this. I'd rather see this on a freaking loop than to see your precious hybrids again. But that's my opinion. I digress. Anyway, that's my review of Sahara. Underrated. It doesn't have the best lead girl. It's way too expensive for the movie that they made. You know, they could have spent less money. And the villain, I don't remember him too much, but it is what it is, and it's a decent film. If you have nothing to do on a Saturday, it's a time killer, and it's fun. It's fun for what it is, and it has a great lead. So I would give it a chance. Don't listen to the critics saying this movie's the worst thing you've ever seen. I've seen way worse, and I can freaking prove that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next review.